There has been a dangerous trend in Michigan as of late, moving away from democracy. Recently, our state party conventions chose their candidates for state AG and Secretary of State. This is a mess. This is not a democracy, it's a political machine. Michigan should change its state constitution or pass a law stopping this. People should choose their candidates for offices in a primary. This should not be done by any types of bosses or party bosses. That is not democracy in Michigan. Independent candidates should be allowed to run for State Board of Education and university trustee offices in Michigan. After all, they are public schools and public offices. I don't think that's possible right now under the laws or the current party setup that we are now living in Michigan. That's also been a political machine for a long time. Everyone should vote in primaries. They're more important than the general, in my opinion, because you get to decide the direction of your state and thus the direction of your respective parties. In my opinion, all public university trustee positions in Michigan should be publicly elected by all the voters, like you have right now with U of M, Michigan State, and Wayne State University. That does not happen with all of them. Some are still appointed. They're controlled by public tax dollars, and therefore the people should be voting for them. For example, my alma mater, Western Michigan University, does not have publicly elected boards of trustees. They're essentially hired or somehow appointed. They are the third largest public university in the state of Michigan, and thus the third largest college in Michigan that does not have publicly elected trustees. This is wrong and inconsistent. It needs to be changed. You need to have direct democracy here. One example of the mess of all this is a Democrat from Ingham County named Barb Byram. She's actually their county clerk. She was probably the most qualified candidate in the whole state to possibly be your next Secretary of State. But she won't even be on the ballot because of what went on at the party conventions. They didn't want her on the Democratic side within the party convention. I knew of her many years ago when I was a Democrat. I think I met her a long time ago. I really don't remember, but the reality is the people should be deciding this. She won't even be on the ballot. She may have been the best candidate in the whole state for this. Another example of this mess is the Karen McDonald situation at the state Democratic convention. This would raise many eyebrows here of what went on there and the way she was treated at this convention, at least according to her. She may have been the most qualified candidate in the whole state for state attorney general. Based on resume, the public should have at least been voting for her in a primary. She will not be on the ballot either at the state level because of what both parties were doing, choosing their candidates at the state convention through machine rather than through democracy. I'm not just picking on the liberals here or the Democrats. Technically, I'm probably on the marginal left politically. Both parties were doing this. The candidates on the Republican side for the same offices, State AG and Secretary of State, are two people I've never even heard of. In fact, many people in the state may never have even heard of them when it comes to them running for office. This is going to be a big problem for them, in my opinion, when they run for very high offices at the state level in the state of Michigan. Big problem. Both parties are doing it. A lot of stupidity here. This shouldn't be happening. the CONCON, or the Constitutional Convention in Michigan, or the State House should do something about this. We need laws. This should be stopped. This is crazy. We're losing our democracy here. It should be stopped either by the courts, the Constitution, or state laws in Michigan. We are losing our democracy here. State offices, all of them, should have state primaries for these offices. Michigan needs state primaries for all its state offices, even for State Board of Education. There's exceptions at the local level, but for state offices, you need primaries. That is a democratic republic and thus democracy. We need change in the state of Michigan for the people. Okay, once again, thanks again for your time and your consideration. Have a great 4th of July. Have a great Independence Day. Please make a note. I will resume my moon landing hoax NASA conspiracy series next week. I will have 2 videos on old Newsweeks from the late 60s that, in my opinion, prove through photographic evidence and verbiage in print at the time that the 1969 moon landings by NASA were faked. As I continue on in my analysis of evidence, I will prove to you that that is the case. The moon landings were faked. I hope to see you next week. Thanks again. It's free to subscribe.